Are you worried about buying the wrong kind of property in Maple Ridge? The truth is, not every home is created equal. Some properties carry risks that can lead to huge repair bills, higher insurance costs, or even resale challenges if you're not careful. A lot of buyers get excited when they see a home with a big yard or a great price, but underneath that excitement is a fear. What if there's something wrong that I can't see? In this video, I'm going to walk you through 8 of the biggest risks when buying a property in Maple Ridge, what to watch out for, and how to decide if a home is worth pursuing or if you should walk away. So let's dive into the first major risk, which is buying a home in a floodplain or in a flood fringe area. Low-lying neighborhoods like Port Hammond, and certain pockets near Kanaka Creek and the Pitt River are all mapped as flood risk zones because of their proximity to waterways and their history of seasonal flooding. During spring snowmelt or after a heavy snowfall and winter storms, water levels can rise quickly, and homes in these areas without proper elevation are much more likely to experience water damage, foundation settlement, mold, and higher insurance premiums. That's why it's so important to confirm whether a home meets the flood construction level or FCL. This isn't something you can guess just by looking at the property. Ask for an elevation certificate, double check the city's floodplain maps, and talk with an insurance broker before you remove subjects so you know what the coverage looks like and whether there are higher deductibles involved. Retrofitting an older home to bring it up to current standards can cost anywhere from $10,000 to $50,000 or more depending on the scope of work, which could include raising the structure, improving drainage, or adding floodproofing features like sump pumps and backflow valves. The silver lining is that homes that have already been elevated and floodproof often sell at a discount compared to similar homes outside the floodplain. For careful buyers, that creates an opportunity to get a more affordable property in a neighborhood you like, provided that the mitigation has been done correctly and you're comfortable with the ongoing considerations of living in a flood-influenced area. Another risk to be aware of are properties located near dikes or in areas influenced by groundwater and backwater flooding. On paper, dikes are meant to protect homes from flooding, but not all of them have been upgraded to modern standards, and some aren't maintained well enough to handle the kind of extreme weather we see today. Even if a property isn't inside a mapped floodplain, high groundwater can still create serious issues like water seepage into crawl spaces, cracked foundations, or even localized flooding during heavy rain. If you're considering a home near a dike, it's smart to ask for reports on the dike's current condition, confirm whether the home meets the flood construction level, and review the property's drainage history. Talk with neighbors if you can, since they'll often know firsthand whether flooding has ever been an issue on that street. Many buyers also invest in mitigation systems like sump pumps, backflow valves, improved grading, or upgraded drainage, which can cost anywhere from $10,000 to $30,000 depending on what's needed. The positive side is that homes in well-protected dike areas can offer good affordability, and if the infrastructure is strong and regularly maintained, these homes can provide stability and value without the same level of risk as unprotected floodplain properties. I know this is a lot of information and it can feel overwhelming trying to sort through it all on your own. The good news for you is that you don't have to. I am a local realtor and I've helped tons of people make the move to Maple Ridge successfully, and I'd be happy to guide you through the process step by step as well. If you'd rather skip the stress and just get clear answers for your situation, you can scroll down and book a quick, no-pressure Zoom call with me using the first link in the description. And while you're there, make sure to download my free Ultimate Maple Ridge Relocation Guide. It's packed with local insights, tips, and a list of my top neighborhoods to help you start narrowing down your options. Another potential risk that needs extra attention are homes built on steep slopes, escarpments, or other geotechnical hazard zones. Maple Ridge has some beautiful hillside neighborhoods like Silver Valley, Rockridge, Albion, and Thornhill, and while these areas can offer incredible views, privacy, and natural surroundings, they also come with the risk of slope instability and soil movement. Problems can be made worse if a lot was built on improper fill or if drainage hasn't been handled correctly, which can lead to shifting foundations, cracked retaining walls, or even landslide concerns in extreme cases. That's why buyers should always review geotechnical hazard reports, ask for slope stability assessments, and confirm that the home's original building permits address these issues. Insurance can sometimes be more expensive or harder to secure in these zones unless the property has been professionally engineered and maintained. Slope stabilization or remediation work isn't cheap, often ranging from $20,000 to well over $100,000 depending on the scale of the problem. The silver lining is that when these homes are properly engineered and backed by professional reports, they can be just as safe as homes on flat land. And in many cases, they're even more desirable because of their unique setting and impressive views. Well-built hillside homes often appreciate strongly over time, which means that while they carry extra upfront due diligence, they can also be some of the most rewarding properties to own in Maple Ridge. Another risk buyers need to think about are homes located in riparian zones or environmental setback areas. These are properties that back onto or sit close to sensitive waterways like Kanaka Creek, the Alouette River, or smaller streams around Whonnock Lake. At first glance, these homes can look amazing because they often come with natural privacy, greenery, and the peaceful sound of running water, but they also carry some of the strictest rules you'll find in real estate. The city and province both regulate what you can and can't do near these environments, which means you may face limits on landscaping, fencing, tree removal, or building addition. Even something as simple as adding a deck, a shed, or retaining wall can require permits and environmental assessment. If work was done without approval, you could be looking at fines or a requirement to restore the land back to its original state, which can be very expensive. Getting professional environmental reports or mitigation permits can add another $5,000 to $30,000 to your budget depending on the complexity. While these rules might feel restrictive, the benefit is that homes in riparian zones often back onto protected green space, meaning you'll never have a neighbor building right behind you. Many homebuyers value this privacy and see it as an ecological benefit, especially if they enjoy nature and want a home that feels more private and unique compared to a standard subdivision lot. The key is going in with your eyes open so you understand both the restrictions and the long-term value these properties can bring. Another risk to keep in mind in Maple Ridge is the wildfire hazard, especially in what's called the Wildland urban interface. This includes areas like Silver Valley and rural East Maple Ridge where homes are built close to heavily forested land. The setting is peaceful and scenic, but that natural beauty also increases wildfire risk because of dry fuel loads, steep terrain, and the fact that emergency services may have limited access in the event of a fire. Most people don't even think to consider this in the Lower Mainland, feeling like it only affects those in the Okanagan and elsewhere. But buyers should always review provincial wildfire risk maps, inspect the property for defensible space, and look at the materials used in construction. Homes with wood shake roofs, untreated decks, or vegetation growing right up against the siding are more vulnerable, while upgrades like metal or asphalt roofing, ember-resistant vents, fire-rated siding, and cleared buffer zones around the property can make a big difference. Depending on the size of the lot and the work required, creating proper fire defenses can cost anywhere from $5,000 to $30,000 or more, and insurance is often higher in these zones because carriers factor in additional risk. For some buyers, that extra risk feels like a deal breaker, but for others who are willing to invest in fire protection, the trade-off is well worth it. Up-to-date properties in these areas can offer stunning views, natural privacy, and a connection to the outdoors that's hard to match in more urban neighborhoods while still being safe and insurable if the right precautions are taken. Moving on to the next risk which buyers need to look out for are properties with underground or decommissioned oil tanks. These tanks were common in older homes built before natural gas heating became the standard, and while many were removed over the years, plenty still remain buried in yards or under driveways. The problem is that even if a tank hasn't been used in decades, it can still leak, sending oil into the soil and potentially contaminating groundwater. And unfortunately, cleanup isn't cheap. Depending on the extent of the leak, remediation can cost anywhere from $10,000 to well over $100,000, and in some cases, the Ministry of Environment may require detailed testing before you can even sell the property. That's why it's so important to confirm whether a tank exists before you buy. Ask the seller for documentation showing removal, hire a professional to do a scan if you're unsure, and check municipal records for past permits. Insurance companies often won't provide coverage for oil tank issues, which means if you don't catch it before removing subjects, you could be stuck with the liability. The good news is that many properties with confirmed tank removals are safe and carry no ongoing risk, and a clean certificate actually makes the home more attractive to future buyers. The key is not to guess or take someone's word for it. Make sure the paperwork is in place because this is one problem that can turn a great deal into a financial nightmare if you're not careful. Another category of homes that you need to be cautious of are properties that were previously used as grow-ops or drug-affected homes. Even when they've been renovated to look clean on the surface, these homes can hide serious problems like mold growing behind walls, chemical contamination in drywall or insulation, and even structural damage caused by the extra moisture and unpermitted electrical work that often comes with indoor cultivation. Lenders and insurers know this, which is why they're often reluctant to approve financing or coverage unless you can show full documentation. And even then, sometimes they still won't provide it. So if you are considering buying one of these homes, you should always request environmental testing, professional air quality reports, remediation certificates, and a municipal clearance letter confirming the property has been brought back up to code. Without those documents in hand, you're taking on too much risk. And even with those documents, you still need to be aware that it doesn't completely mitigate that risk. Remediation can cost anywhere from $10,000 to $50,000 depending on the extent of the damage, and in some cases, the stigma of a former grow-op can follow the property for years even after it's been repaired. On the flip side, if all the paperwork's in place and the home has been professionally remediated, these properties can sometimes be purchased at a discount compared to similar homes in the area. For the right buyer, that discount can be an opportunity, but only if you're comfortable with the history and know that lenders, insurers, and future buyers will all want proof that the home is safe and compliant, and even then it's going to turn a lot of them off. The last risk which buyers need to watch out for in Maple Ridge are stratas that are either self-managed or don't have enough money in their contingency reserve fund. On the surface, the building or complex might look charming and the unit itself could seem perfect, but if the financial engine behind the strata isn't strong, you're taking on the risk of future repair bills and surprise special levies. When a strata lacks professional management, maintenance is often inconsistent, and without a healthy reserve fund, even small projects can trigger larger costs that can get passed directly to owners. That's why you should always review the Form B, depreciation report, and the financial statements carefully. Look for how much money is in the contingency reserve fund compared to what the depreciation report says is needed. Check if there's a history of special levies and review the current insurance certificate, paying close attention to deductibles and exclusions. Special levies can range from $5,000 to $20,000 or more per owner, and in some cases, they show up with little notice. While underfunded or poorly run stratas are a serious concern, not all of them are lost causes. Some can be turned around with new management, higher contributions, and more accountability from the owners. On the other hand, a well-run self-managed strata that keeps transparent records and follows a maintenance plan can keep fees lower and still stay financially healthy. The safest option is usually a professionally managed strata with solid reserves, but the key is to do your homework so you know exactly what you're stepping into before you buy. Another quick tip here is that just because you see an extremely low strata fee doesn't necessarily mean that's a good thing. Sometimes a complex or building can keep their strata fees low because that's what owners want. However, they may not be properly planning for the future. So you have to review the documents and ask yourself, am I wanting to save $50 or $100 a month just so that in the future I may be hit with a $5, $10, or $15,000 special levy all at once? So bringing it all together, what does this mean for you as a buyer? Maple Ridge is full of opportunity, but it's critical to know where the risks lie. From floodplains and steep slopes to wildfire zones and leaky condos, the key is not to avoid these properties altogether, but to approach them with careful due diligence and the right professional advice. Many of these risks are manageable, and some can even work in your favor if the home is priced accordingly. So if you are considering moving to Maple Ridge and you'd like some more personalized advice on which the best neighborhoods could potentially be for you are, you can scroll down and click the first link in the description to book a call with me at a time that works best for you. Before you go, make sure you check out my previous video all about living in Maple Ridge. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel so you don't miss any future updates. Thanks so much for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.